Well, there you go. How's that for a song filled with vibrance? Sonder family, any The Greatest Showman fans out there, I just love the spirit in that song. Hey, I'm Jennifer Ogilvy, and I will be your facilitator this fine Saturday as we get a head start on setting up our week for next week. Joining me on today's call is Karen, working in the chat. She's giving you a big wave. Karen and I are doing a couple of these setups together this weekend, so we're excited to be able to hang out with you guys. And yes, Steph B, hi from hot Texas. Yes, here we are. We're already complaining. I'm coming to you from the Dallas, Texas area, and it is warm. I know that we're kind of mid-month. I'd love to know if there's anybody here for the very first time doing a setup. Just kind of put a me in the chat so we can give you an extra special welcome. Speaking of the chat, make sure that you see your name and it says to everyone. If it says to host and panelists, your comments are only going to Karen and myself. And I see we have a couple of new folks. So welcome. We're very, very glad that you are here. These setups are great appointments to keep with yourself so that you can get set up for a fabulous week ahead. So we applaud you for being here. Welcome to the Sonder family. And just a reminder, if things feel like it's a lot, grab your phone, take screenshots of what you see that resonates with you. There might be a lot of things you want to try over the upcoming weeks to find out how to set your journal up to work just for you. So it is mid-month, if you can believe it. And I posted the mid-month check-in from the Silk and Sonder Instagram account. So if you're not already following Silk and Sonder on Instagram, be sure to do that because there's great content. And this is a wonderful, just little mid-month check-in, kind of see how things are going. It's a great journal prompt. And if you're on Instagram, you can go back and take a look at it at any time. All righty, so let's dig in. So a reminder, we do have some community guidelines in our Sonder Club app, as well as when we are gathered together. Very, very easy things to follow. Be courteous and kind, no spamming, respecting privacy, of course, no speech, hate speech or bullying. If you have any specific questions, we will do our best to answer them, but we may just give you the hello@silkandsonder.com, which is our headquarters helpline. Customer care team is there and they love to assist. They are a Monday through Friday team. Just to let you know, we give them their weekends so that they too can take care of themselves. And then our time together is a way for us to hold ourselves accountable. We have this wonderful community. We're always here for each other, but always remember that you're responsible for your well-being and your feelings and emotions. And if things come up and things feel tough, feel free to just sit back and chill. You don't you do what you need to do to make this the best experience for you. And oh, Steph B, I got my journal today for May, and I agree the colors are pretty fun. I can't wait to pull out my colored pencils so that I can use those. So this month's theme, we're going to keep talking about April, even though May is exciting, is vibrance. And I found this great little quote, just a reminder about living a life of vibrance means you don't ever save anything for a special occasion. Being alive is a special occasion. I thought that fit perfectly with our theme of vibrance. Our time together, we're going to kick off with that vibrance mind map. Now, if you are joining us for the first time, I'll explain what this is and show you what that looks like. But what we basically do is take our monthly theme and do a deep dive each week through a different lens so that we can discover how that theme best fits in our own lives. We're going to do our rose, bud, thorn reflection. We'll set up for the week and then we'll close. So this month we're exploring vibrance in 4 different areas of our life. We have 4 weekends that we are setting up for a week ahead. And this week we're focusing on places. So places that make us feel vibrant. For those of you who are new to us, week 1, we looked at what is a vibrant life. What are those things that put you in a flow state where you lose track of time? And we reflected on those things and encouraged ourselves on ways that we could incorporate those things into our life. Make sure that we're making space for the things that we that puts us in our flow. Last week, we looked at culture. What cultural activities make you feel vibrant? Theater, arts, performers, going to museums, maybe the things that you do to lean into cultures and embrace that. And then this week, we're going to be looking at places. What are the places that make you feel vibrant? Nature, music, festivals, shops, certain cities. Let me share my page. I took a hint from Sonder Family, and this month I used the definition page in my journal for my mind maps for my responses each week. And this week is down there in the bottom middle, pardon me, and places. And I said, hands down, my oh, Michelle, you know what? We will drop the link to past socials in the chat at the end of this social, so you can go back and access the previous weeks. Again, the first week, you can see I did that at the top page. That was my vibrant life, where I find my flow. Last week was sculpture. Pardon me, I'm getting over bronchitis, so I have a little tickle. Hands down for me, the good place. That's where we have a little cabin. Pardon me. My garden, sitting at my sewing machine, eating outside at restaurants, etc., etc. So I'm going to ask you, what are the places that make you feel vibrant? I'm going to put on some music while you work on this. Feel free to share in the chat. All right. I am so glad that you were able to take a moment to reflect on the places that bring vibrance in your life. I said there's bonus points if anybody knows the place that that song was about. That's an oldie, but a goodie. And it's kind of, I'm looking to see if anybody knows what song that was. Any any old people on here know about Xanadu with Olivia Newton-John? Yes, and you got, oh yay, you guys got it. I thought that'd be kind of a fun place about vibrancy to throw in there. So now let's open our journal to page 44. That should be the page that you're kind of on today as we're wrapping up this week. And we're going to take a look at our rose bud thorn reflections. And the reason we do this every week is that we can embrace those things that have brought us joy or that we've done well, the things that brought us just, or maybe even just made us feel vibrant. We can take a look at the things that are a bud, an emerging opportunity in our lives. And they can be very, very small things. They don't have to be really big earth-shattering things. It's what's going on in your life. And then the challenges, because sometimes there are things that might not be serving us. And when we put it on paper and see it, we can figure out ways to get rid of it. So my page, I have on Fridays, I get to keep my two youngest grands, and I call it Grand Friday. And so it's a 2-year-old and a 7-month-old. And I get to take a dance class with my 2-year-old. And so that was my highlight of the week. And then my little guy learned how to pull the washcloth off his face. And so we can play peekaboo. And so those were my very simple highlights. The bud is we are planning a family vacation this summer. It's a milestone year in our family. I'm turning 60 and my husband and I are celebrating our 40th anniversary in the summer. So we are getting a VRBO and taking the kids and the grandkids, and we're all going to be together, and that's in the works. And I am so excited about that. And then my challenge this week, and really for like 6 weeks, has just been coughing and allergies and illnesses from the grandkids. And I have ended up with this bronchitis. So I'm on like 4 different meds. I'm feeling better, but while that song was playing, I did go do a little inhaler puff so that I wouldn't cough my way through our social together. So I want you to take a moment to consider how your week went and share in the chat, if you'd like, what your rose, bud, and thorn was. All righty. So thank you for sharing in the chat. Some of you guys have some, you have like hydroponic gardening. I would love to learn more about that. That is awesome. there are some thorns, health always, right? It affect, if you don't, I always say, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. When you don't feel well, it is hard to feel vibrant and embrace this theme this month. So those of you who are going through some health journeys or some aches and pains, we hold space for you. We're here for you. And I'm sorry for that. And I hope that your buds are helping you have the energy to look forward to new things. So thank you so much for sharing in the chat. Oh, and heavenly birthdays. Those are pretty precious times. So thank you guys for sharing. Now, let's get going with our setup. And just a reminder is that, if you've been with Silk and Sonder a while, these spaces come pre-marked, pre-labeled, put goals, put meal plan, all those things. But I want you to remember you have permission to repurpose these spaces to work for you in your life and what you need. And so we're going to look at a ton of ideas. I've got a whole list here. And I have a bunch of examples. So if you're a gardener, you may repurpose a space so that you can track all your garden duties right now. If you are an educator, this is the time of year when that really ramps up for all the end of the year things. So you may repurpose a space to track some of the work you're doing. If you're in corporate America, you may have your meal plan may become your work to-do list. So make these spaces work for you. Just that reminder. So we're going to look at page 46. That is our weekly planner this week. And at the very top, it says, this week, I want to feel. So I want you to think about what you have coming up in the upcoming week and kind of name the feelings that you want to have. What are you wanting to manifest for the things that you have coming up? You can use one word, you can use several words. You might have a phrase, a mantra. Maybe there's a past affirmation that you could put in this, how I want to feel. Find a sticker or a picture. Just really, what do you want to focus on? And you can say, I've got some examples from fellow Sonder family members. And this can be one word. I always like to point out that one in the second column in the middle, using kind of naming your days. If you have a really tough day, embracing a feeling for just that day so that you can kind of lean into it with, feeling strong and powerful. Do what you need to do. Here's a ton of words. I'd like you to drop in the chat right now kind of what you're thinking that you want to put in that space. How do you want to feel this week? I have a big project that's due for a philanthropic group, and I've got some tasks associated. So I want to remain focused this week. That's going to be one of my big words, is focused and productive, because I need to get some things wrapped up. So I'm seeing joyful and inspired, organized, productive. Maybe I'll also add organized to mine. Nathania's got a big competition coming up, a ballroom dance. She says she wants to feel like she's dancing on air, motivated. Lisa says, I want to feel self-love, something that she's working on. Hoping to feel challenged. You want to feel growth. You want to feel healthy. So take that and write that in your space right now. How you want to feel: relieved, motivated, grateful, sexy. Yeah, you go, Roshni. That's great. Just claim how you want next week to be and put that in there. Competent. Yes. Good. Okay. You guys are on it now. So now I want to drop right below how I want to feel and take a look at those weekly major 3 goals. And so how I like to frame this out is, how will those goals that you're going to have for the week support the way you want to feel, right? How can we make that all work together? And even though it says weekly 3 major goals, you may only want to set one major goal, or you may need to do 5 little goals for the week. It's really up to you. So, again, a reminder to take what you need. So some ideas if you're kind of stuck at where to go look at that intentions page that you set up. This is a mid-month. It's a perfect time to make sure that you are reviewing those intentions, those monthly habits. How are they going? If they're not working, maybe reframe that and claim something new for the remainder of the month. You can set your goals this week through the lens of vibrance, especially those places that bring about vibrance in your life. Maybe you can make some appointments with yourself to go to those places that make you feel great. Look at the last couple of weeks. Is there anything that is outstanding that you could just go ahead and bring forward so you can focus on getting that done and feeling good about that? Or maybe have a single personal challenge, a spending challenge, a not spending challenge, health, rest, unplugging, and let those, something like that guide those goals for the week. And a lot of folks will do 3 categories for these goals, and they'll do something like mind, body, soul, and then they can assign tasks to make sure they're taking care of their mind, their body, and their soul. I have some examples to show you: left brain, right brain, no brain things, work, community, home, frog, fun, fruitful. That's one that I did. The frog means eat the frog. Get the thing done that you don't want to do. Just knock it out and call that the frog. Maybe something, put a delete, delegate, and delight. And so here are some examples. While we work on this, I'll go back and forth, pardon me, so that you can see how folks have set this up and maybe be inspired by fellow Silk and Sonder users. I'll be back to check in just a moment. I would like to call out something that Nathania wrote. Um, just, kind of avoiding the frogs and taking a break. Spent the week on self-care. I want to say yay to you for taking that break. She says it's time to start adulting again. And I think what's the great takeaway for that is that we need to give ourselves that time. That's so, so critical, to take those breaks from time to time so that we can really rejuvenate and lean into a more vibrant life. So thank you for setting those up for this week, your major goals. Now we're going to look at the to-dos. So we'll slide just a little over there to the left. And I found this, you may have seen it before, but I think it's so funny. It's some days I do several loads of laundry, clean the kitchen, make the bed, mop the floors, have dinner ready. And other days I eat a box of Oreos and call it a day, because it's about having balance. And just like what we were saying, Nathania, we got to have balance, right? You got to have those days where we just kind of do what we need to do to take care of ourselves. So let's look at the to-dos. Now, this space is very versatile. It can be set up in a number of ways. This is something called the Eisenhower Matrix. Silk and Sonder users love this when there is a lot going on in their life, because it is a great graphic to use to take that to-do list and plug things in as important and urgent, all the way down to the things that are not quite so important and not urgent. And that tells us that we can delete or drop it, that it does not need to be front and center. And I know sometimes when I have a ton of stuff going on, it's very hard. If I haven't kind of thought it through, I find myself doing the things that are not quite as important. So this is a great tool to use if you have several things and you want to make sure that you are prioritizing and getting the most important things done first. Again, I'll go back and forth through these slides as we work in this section. If you look at the example across the top of this, since we just set those three major goals, this person set the goals of number 1, balance, number 2, budgets, and number 3, bylaws. And then if you look over into the weekly to-dos to the left of that, those to-dos directly correspond with those goals. So really making that accountability and setting yourself up for that success. So for balance, the to-dos are journal in the morning, get workouts done by 1, and develop a wind down routine. So very focused on how the goal of being balanced is going to be met. So that's a way for you to consider setting that up. There are other ways you can do. You can divide this space up for like work and home, morning and evening. You can use it as a regular to-do list. You can make it fun and add those stickers. There is a place that someone just put a beautiful quote about gratitude. So when they open the page, they're looking at this great quote. Now, a lot of folks like to put a little bingo board here just to make the to-do list a little fun and get that satisfaction of marking the bingos off. And then I want to remind you that sometimes the best way to grow is to subtract, take away things that are not serving you. And so the bottom right little graphic is from, again, the Silk and Sonder Instagram. And it says make a to not do list. So you can check off what you didn't do. What are the things that are not serving you? Things like multitasking, not sleeping enough, not drinking enough water. And so sometimes it's nice to have a week where you put stuff like that in these to-dos and really lean into self-care. Other folks like to leave this space blank and create a to-da box. And you can fill things in along the way as the week goes along. There's a lot of times I tend to do a to-da box. And the reason I do it, I put my to-dos in my weekly spread. And then when I accomplish other things, because I miss that productivity, I'm no longer working outside the home. And I miss that productivity. So I like to celebrate when I get other things done. And I put that in my ta-da box. So that's also a suggestion. So let's take a few moments to work on our to-dos, and I will come back in and check with you. Let's share in the chat how you use this space. If you've tried the Eisenhower matrix, how did that work for you? Do you do a bingo board? Let us know what you do with the to-do space each week. Okay, I'm seeing that some of you have been like team ta-da, but you're repurposing this week because you need to be a little more focused. I love that. Making that journal work for you. Yes, Lisa, I'm so excited. Is a good chores list song to get things done too. I love that. I love working with fun music. I get more done. So we're now going to move into that habit and activity portion that's on the bottom of this page. And lots of Q and A's about, well, what's the difference between this and that monthly, especially if you're a new user. The monthly habit tracker wheel are the things that we pretty much intend to do every single day of the month. Things like maybe take your vitamins or brush your teeth or make your bed. The things that I always suggest put a couple of things on there that you kind of are already doing so that you can make sure that you're celebrating some successes, and it makes you turn to that page and look at those. The habit tracker in our weekly setup, it's awesome because every week is different, and you can vary the number of things you're doing. And for example, I'm sick. I'm on antibiotics. I've added antibiotics to my habit tracker. It's not something I'm going to do every single day this month, but I need a little reminder there. So I love the versatility of being able to change those habits up in our weekly tracker. So I have some examples to share with you. And again, I'm going to point you back to those April intentions. We set those up. So let's really make sure that we're looking back at those pages and making sure that we're meeting those intentions. And you can use those to help set this up. Also, look at those goals for the week. Are there some goals that have some habits, definitely attached to them so that you can put that in there and maybe track them? A lot of folks set these up in a number of ways. The one at the very top, not sure what's going on. Maybe there's a vacation coming up. So this person is giving themselves permission to track 3 days. Remember, you don't have to fill in all the spaces. Empty spaces are part of your journey, part of your story too. They're neutral. The one over on the middle left, you can see they've set goals in a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 manner. And so they plan to read 5 times in the week. They want to make sure they're spending time outside at least 4 days, take at least 3 showers. So that's just kind of a fun way to frame that out. But you also don't have to put a number of goals. You can just use this as a tracker. The one right below that with the color dots, there's not a goal number assigned. It's just going to be tracked with those colors. The one that is along the bottom, there's 3 things that are being tracked. Every line, again, doesn't have to be filled out. And the days of the week with those things to do have been circled. So again, just a little bit nice, a nice way to have that self-accountability in that. So I have a ton of inspiration if you're not sure exactly what kind of habits and activities you want to track this week. I'll go back and forth between these couple of slides as we work on this section. I would love for you to post what you'll be working on this week in this habit and activity. What are you going to be tracking and working on? Share in the chat. Angie shared in the chat that one of the things she's tracking is sitting outside and doing nothing, just getting that fresh air. And I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I realize I didn't really go outside and just breathe fresh air today. So it's such a good thing to track, right? It makes it's amazing how a little fresh air can completely change your life for the rest of the day. So anyhow, I love this habit tracker. I hope that you guys find it very successful for you this week as you lean into these habits and activities that you want to embrace. So now we're going to go next door to the next page, and that's where we will see our meal plan, the My Body Health Plan, and the shopping list, as well as that little box that says, I am loving. Again, I want to remind you of all the different ways these spaces can be repurposed if you choose to not use them as is. There's just a lot of different things that you can track in your life, the things that you need. And so here's a long list, definitely not exhaustive list, but just some ideas of how you can repurpose any of these areas. And then I'm going to show you a ton of different ways, and we'll work on this page all at once, because some of it is just, very organic. And I know, like, even though we have that meal plan, someone uses that for affirmations, and then they use the Mind Body Health Plan to plan like their dinner meals for the family. And so they're kind of repurposing. So let's just take a look at a bunch of examples. Then I'm going to put on a good spell of music so that you can go through and kind of create these spaces to work for you. So let's take a look at some meal plan examples. If you'll notice, there's just a lot of different things you can do with the space. People love the space because it's this nice, good chunk of, I call it, the real estate, right? There's good squares there, and they're broken up into the days of the week. If there's something going on health-wise, it's a perfect space to track symptoms, and then you can, take this list with everything in one place to your healthcare provider, because it'll all be, right there. A lot of times symptoms do come along with the foods and drinks that we're ingesting. And so you could kind of combine that as a tracker, a daily debrief, maybe, end of the day reflection, if a daily scripture, perhaps a place for your schoolwork, your homework, the lesson plan reminders. There is the GLAD, an acronym, which is for a reflection, maybe kind of like a rosebud thorn, but you would look at what were you grateful for this week, what you learned, what you achieved, and what delighted you. Journal responses and prompts, feels and meals, if you're working on making sure you're not doing that mindless eating, or you want to I'm eating this and I'm feeling this way. A self-care plan, your weekly reflections, affirmations. If you're doing Sonder Club and you're getting that daily affirmation, you can put them all in one space here. I also like to always point out, I thought this was a great idea for those water droplets, to color code them with what you're drinking. Blue for the water, but you could do black for the coffee, brown for tea, yellow for lemonade, the things that you're drinking, or track maybe the sodas that you're trying to eliminate. You could kind of track and see it on paper. A chore list, appointments, a wardrobe tracker, or a packing list. Again, just great space. The Mind Body Health Plan is that little space that's over to the right up at the top. And I tend to try to track my movements in this space. If I've gone for a walk or I've done a yoga practice, but you can also do different types of reflections, such as, like doing a daily intention, like Monday is Motivation Monday. What does that mean? Are you going to do something on that Monday? Transformation Tuesday, Wellness Wednesday. So you can kind of have a little bit of fun with those days. Here's some stuff from Silk and Sonder about if you have 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. how to have a little self-care moment. Maybe these kinds of things get plugged into that mind body health plan. When I was kind of under the weather with coughing, I did this week of gratitude that I believe I found through Karen's setup. And it was just a daily reflection of leaning into that gratitude in a different, through a different little set of lenses. And then here are some examples from you guys. So a feelings check-in, I feel this way today. And so my self-talk is this: what do I need? How did I nourish my mind, body, and soul? Look at that one down there on the bottom. Right, just a quick little one-word response to make sure that you're checking in and taking good care of yourself. And again, don't worry, I'm going to go back through all of these examples when we're working on the pages. You play Wordle, you could track your Wordle there. How am I feeling? What do I need? That one up in the upper middle there. And you can see the others. And some folks like to lean into the national days of. And this is from an older journal, so it's not National Spider-Man Day on Monday, but you could look those things up and track those as well. And then underneath that is that fun little shopping list space. And again, a ton of ways to repurpose this. Now, I'm a bingo person, and this is where my weekly bingo goes, and it's tasks and treats. So I make sure that I put a couple of fun things on there that are treats. Maybe a nice cold glass of iced tea out on the back patio. But you can, if you look in the upper corner there, the upper right corner, that was bingo I did for my birthday week. If you have a birthday in your life, somebody who is in your family or yourself, celebrate by creating a little bingo somewhere and putting some fun things on there. You might want to remind yourself with the shopping list, no unnecessary spending. As you can see, there's a couple of places there that people are stay out of the dollar store. Maybe that's your goal and your reminder, but it's a nice little space to be repurposed if you're not using it for a shopping list. And then finally, that bottom box I am loving. And this is truly, what are you loving right now at this moment? Are you reading a book that you're crazy about? Is there a new friend in your life? Is there a great meal that you've discovered that you like to cook? It's just that little glimpse at the moment of what you are loving right now this week. And so let's go ahead and I'm going to give you a good amount of time to work on these pages, and I will go back and forth. If you've repurposed some of these and you really found it effective for you, if you'd share that in the chat, that'd be great, because that can be inspiring for folks who are maybe trying to figure out. And you don't have to change this up every week. If you have found what works for you, that's fabulous. But it's also kind of fun to try some new things. If you're trying something new, let us know, and I'll come back in and check with you in just a moment. All right. Well, Sonder family, we are going to have a fabulous week. You have gotten a head start on setting up, making sure that you're ready to go when Monday morning rolls around. You prioritize this time for your journal and your week. A reminder, I know a couple of folks posted this in the chat, is that always remember this really is your journal. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves for things to look a certain way, and to not have mess ups and scratches, and it really is okay. This is a tool to be used. And I know I can think about the tools that are in my toolbox in the garage, and the hammer is old and beat up because I've used it. And so make sure that you're taking the pressure of these perfect pages off, and lean into utilizing this great tool to make your life more vibrant. So I want to thank you so much for joining us today. I've got a couple of little layouts here of our weeks, those weekly spreads, just if you don't have a rhythm to setting that up, just some ideas of how folks will box these spaces off so that they can, make it work for them. I tend to do appointments at the top each day, anything with that's time sensitive. And then my to-dos go in there. And then depending on what else is going on, I may do a little reflection. But that's a couple of ways of doing those weekly spreads. And then a lot of folks just use it as their places for journal prompts, for writing, for brain dumping, kind of what's going on in your head. We would love to see your journal shared in Sonder Club if you are comfortable doing so. We all learn from each other all the time, and we love to see how you're setting your journal up. Let's see, I think there we go. Our refer a friend QR code is there. That's always something that's going. You get $10 and your friend gets $10. And then you can also share feedback using that QR code. You will also receive a follow-up email after this social. In your survey, if you have ideas about times that work well, anything having to do, I know someone had asked us about time zones. Be sure to bubble that into that survey so that headquarters can read your ideas. So many of the changes, and even the fact that we have Sonder socials, that came from feedback from the Sonder family. And so feel free to share that in those surveys and those that feedback. And if I'm going to go ahead and want to just again thank you for joining Karen and myself. Thank you for your patience as I got that little tickle in my throat. I thought I was good. I apologize. So thank you for your patience there. And if there's a slide you want to see again, let me know. I'm going to play us a fun, vibrant piece of music. Thanks for joining us, Karen, and I loved hanging out with the Sonder family. Have a great rest of the weekend.
So sweet. Living in this big blue world with my head up in outer space. I know I'll be A-O-A-OK. I know I'll be A-O-A-OK. When I see trouble come my way, I'll be making lemonade. I know I'll be A-O-A-OK. I know I'll be A-O-A-OK.